Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
The show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Hello, and good evening, and welcome to Transition Radio. My name is Mark Angelo Cummings, your host.
And I am Jessica Lynn Cummings, your hostess. Tonight's show is being broadcast live from Soggy Silver City, New Mexico. We wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
And the amazing Dr. Madirosian, who is a facial feminization specialist, and he's based out of Jupiter, Florida. Please visit our website. We have a banner there. You directly click on that link, and it'll take you to his wonderful website and practice. Please support our advertisers. Katie Leon, she's an awesome writer, and support the Breast Form Store and Dr. Madirosian.
So why'd you look at me so funny when I said Soggy Silver City?
I don't know, because I wasn't sure what you're going to say. I mean, it's soggy all over the place. It's summertime. It's raining everywhere.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's pretty soggy.
But this ain't not bad at all compared to Georgia, compared to Florida. It's not a deluge of rain. It's just, it's rainy season, and it's going to be rainy. That's the way it is. Anyway, if you guys want to join in our conversation, state your opinion, your comments, anything you like, please call in at 646-716-6895. We always love to hear from you and your comments and questions and all that great stuff. Anyway, talking about comments, there was this article I found, and it was written about the gap in generation and transgeneration, which there is an amazing gap. And there is two forms of thinking between the trans of yesterday and the trans of today. Anyway, the latest trend of younger advocates stem from the newer generation whose self-absorbed needs are creating mayhem. Julia Serrano wrote an article regarding this and pointed out that Jack Halberstam had a recent article who states that it felt like a bit of a kitchen sink article to her, in that it discussed a plethora of different matters, including Monty Python's historical debates between second and third wave feminism and current controversy surrounding the word tranny.
The recent proliferation of trigger warnings, supposed connections between expressions of trauma and neoliberalism, safe spaces, it gets better campaigns, and concerns about millennials being hypersensitive, and attempted to weave them into one nice, neat, coherent narrative. She says while Halberstam's essay made a few points that are certainly worthy of further exploration and discussion, it also overreached in a number of ways.
Especially in its attempt to shoehorn a potpourri of recent events and trends into the formation, overacting, and narrative. Some concerns that she had about the essay have been addressed by others. The notion that queers and trans people of my generation were somehow stoic or resilient, whereas the younger generation of queer and trans people are a bunch of oversensitive crybabies. She really seems to be a stretch, which we don't. But
Yeah. I can attest to the fact that we too complained about how oppressed we were, and we often expressed our hurt feelings in public, and we often became outraged about particular language choices or media depictions that we found problematic. The main difference is that we, in glorifying our own past, tend to believe that the causes that we fought for were righteous and justified, whereas the younger generation's causes and concerns may seem misguided and frivolous to us.
Julie identifies as a writer, performer, and activist, like everybody else lately in the community. Those of us in the day, this is my words, were not worried about the titles we held. We just did what we did to open up hearts and minds. I know I did, and many of the older advocates wanted to educate. Now, the new wave of advocates are all about recognition and self-promotion. It appears to me that the recent generation has not had to fight for the things we had to fight for via education and understanding of what trans is all about. They are mostly concerned about becoming popular, famous, as Julia and the many other blog writers or periodical writers that we see, or even actors, actresses, and so-called new wave of advocates.
Well, yeah, it's probably due to the fact that you dinosaurs are, opened and paved the way for these new trans people, so they have it so easy, so they don't really have anything to fight for or bitch about, so they create things like the word tranny.
Yeah.
The use of the drag queen using the word tranny is forbidden. Well, no, it's not. Get over yourselves, people. Transition is not about, being famous and rich, because it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All that's going to be done is you're going to be put on a pedestal to put yourself out there to be asked questions that apparently most of the advocates don't want to be asked these days.
Yeah, which is really strange. Like Janet Mock wrote a book, got on CNN, but didn't really want to talk about her fact that she was born.
No, all she wanted to do was promote herself.
Self-promotion. And what was that you read yesterday? An article, that I posted on the wall on Facebook.
Yeah, five things you should not say to a transgender person. Yet, meanwhile, the whole thing, it's got a full-blown picture of the columnist, which signifies attention whore. Secondly, gets down to the area where it says the 5 things you should not say, but 3 things that you should say. And when it got to the 3 things you should say, it stated, and this was on the Huffington Post, and it stated that the third question that you could ask a trans person would be, is there any good books that I can read? Oh, well, it just so happens that I'm an author and I wrote 2-3 books, so let me tell you all about them. It's like self-promoting attention whores. That's all advocacy is about these days.
That or beating up on people emotionally, like Kathy Brennan just recently got attacked by a so-called trans advocate. By the way, we're having Kathy on our show this Thursday, and they were talking about that Kathy had been raped and were being really rude and just it's almost like adding salt to a wound. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, trans women who have felt the wrath of judgment are judging others and are belittling them that way. I mean, I'm like, wow, and they want to be women,
The problem is that, it's almost like trans women need to try to push themselves into total women's spaces to make themselves feel, what's that word I'm looking for? To make themselves feel, what's that word I'm looking for? Hello, help me here.
Important?
No.
Validated.
There you go. Close enough. Validated. So, okay, yes, if I can push my way into a feminist group, I'm going to be validated as a woman. If I can push myself into any type of thing that's been created for natural-born females, listen, people, we're not natural-born women. We never will be. So get over yourselves. Yes, we can take HRT. We can go get surgeries to help create the outside to how we feel on the inside. But it's never going to make us the biological gender. So in reality, you're a gender rebel. You break the gender binary. And this is what you need to wake up to and see and grow up. Because the sooner you realize this, the more comfortable you're going to be within your own skin. Because I can tell you, half of these people that are out there running their traps and are saying things behind the keyboard, A, they would not say them in real life, and I guarantee you, a good 80% of them do not even go out as the women that they claim to be. So,
it's all facade behind the keyboard, trying to make themselves feel better. And a lot of it is fetish. People don't want to hear that. There are a lot of genuine trans individuals, but there's a lot of, what do they call it, autophilia or whatever. It's a term. And
autophilia,
something of that nature. Yeah.
I don't know.
But, don't attack other people because they don't fall prey to your delusion. I mean, everyone's entitled to their beliefs. And
yes, it is delusion.
Yeah, total delusion. I'm sorry.
I mean, do we want the world to see us as women, as trans women? Yes. Do trans men want the world?
I don't care.
Let me finish. Do trans men want the world to see them as men? Yeah, we do, in some way or another. But you also got to be okay with the fact that there's going to be those that are still going to not see you as you want to be seen, and you have to be cool with that. I don't care if somebody sees me as a dude or they see me as a chick, as long as they respect me as a human. No problem. I'm cool with that.
See, I am very happy, and this will lead to the next article we're reading, to be two-spirited, and I've come to accept the fact that I am female, and I have part masculinity in me. So this person that I created, I'm not a man, and I say this time and time again, and people get pissed off at me. You're not a man. You're not a man. I'm not a man. I'm a trans dude. I'm a trans person. I'm a two-spirited individual, and this leads us to our next article.
An article that was written by Sabrina Simone, a past guest on our show, who is the creator of transmooseplanet.com, I believe it is.
Yeah.
She wrote an article that we resonate with and have been promoting the concept for quite a long time now. The article is called Best of Both Worlds.
And definitely Best of Both Worlds is who I am. I can't speak for other trans people, but so many ways to celebrate the duality that's in being trans, and we should. So often we face this doom and gloom of living in a world that discriminates against us. It may cause us to doubt at times our own self-worth, but why shouldn't we? We as trans people are extremely special in so many ways. Unfortunately, so many words or labels we once accepted, we now quickly discard due to those who have exploited those terms in derogatory ways.
We've given those that have distorted the meaning the power. When I was a young trans gal in the mid-90s, just starting HRT, how we loathed the word she-male. How right is that? Everybody did. That and transsexual. There was nothing more humiliating. We were more satisfied at the time with the term tranny over she-male. But as time has proved, they've made that as ugly and as shameful. Now, as a community, we've discarded that from our vocabulary.
What I will not let them take is best of both worlds, because we're just that. We're a unique, special, two-spirited people with a long history in the human race. Two-spirited people, long before the white Europeans stole the land of Native Americans, two-spirited people existed in this land we call North America. There's nothing more traditional than two-spirited people. What are you laughing at?
The fact that you said best. What's the matter? The cat got your tongue?
No, that's from my Spaniard stuff. That's how it go on.
Sorry, I couldn't help but laugh at that. That was too funny and too cute. Anyway, two-spirit people were considered a third gender of people, and we're a fundamental institution among most tribal people. Male and female two-spirit people have been documented in over 130 tribes in every region of North America. Two-spirit usually indicates a person whose body simultaneously manifests both a masculine and feminine spirit.
They were highly respected in their tribe and were considered healers, fortune tellers, matchmakers, and to have a child named by a two-spirit person was to have a lucky name in life. There was this survey that Facebook had regarding what gender are you or what part gender.
Oh, yeah.
And I scored 54% female, and I think it was 46% male.
Well, I did it twice.
Wait, let me finish.
Oh, okay.
And, to me, it's like, okay, that's like the true, almost like 50-50, because 46 and 54, you got that pretty much in there. And that's how I feel. I'm a two-spirit person, and I'm very balance with myself, and I feel proud of that. Everybody else on there is like, oh, there's this one FDM, I'm not going to mention it, I was 6% female and 90-something% male. Wow. I'm like, okay, I think we are born here to break those gender boxes and the stereotyping in humanity. And we trans people, a lot of trans people have fallen prey to those gender box scenarios, and I think it's pretty sad. But
well, that's why it's called gender nonconformity. You know, I did it twice because I wanted to see if I picked all the stereotypical answers, what the outcome would be, and if I picked the true answers to me, which the first time was the true answers I picked, and I got 72% male, and the other was, 13%? Wait, 18% female.
Yeah.
And I got 72% female, 18% male on the first go-round. The second go-round, I got 93% female and 7% male, which basically, if all I did was I changed 2 questions, one from cocktail to wine, and the other one I changed was from what pet would you be more intrigued to take on, a cat, a hamster, or a dog, and I picked dog. So apparently the stereotypical thing would have been to pick the cat and the wine instead of the cocktail and the dog.
I picked the
so I switched the 2, and it made a difference.
I picked the cocktail, and it's still good, you know.
Yeah, but you got 52% female, or 54% female, and
which I'm very proud of.
And my first one was 72% female, and the other 18% was male. So
we live in a world that everything is gender roles, everything is stereotypical, and it's BS because, human beings are human beings, spirits are spirits, and we've placed way too much focus on gender and way too much focus on material outer things in our bodies, and that's why human beings are unhappy. Anyway, let's talk about this new hormone that's out. It's called Avid, and
it's testosterone, by the
Can
way.
I finish? Well, I'm in the process.
Well, you said the hormone, so everybody's...
I was getting ready to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Anyway, the FDA approved this Avid, which is a testosterone oil-based injectable that you have to go to the doctor's office to actually get injected because it's like 4 milliliter. I mean, it's a huge amount of testosterone in one sitting, and it takes over like a minute for the injection to actually get to your system. And I mean, talk about abscess and talk about that increased amount of testosterone in one sitting. And eventually you don't have to get it done, but every 3 months. So you have to go to the doctor's office every 3 months. That means you don't have insurance, or even if you do, because you have copay, the doctor pretty much is controlling you for every 3 months, give you tests and all this stuff, and I believe this is all set up to give your gatekeeper more control of your hormones.
Yes, and I actually just converted from being on injectable back to the oral because I'm tired of getting poked once a week.
Jessica changes her mind about things like she changes
whatever.
I think I felt better where I wasn't feeling. She was feeling lousy. She doesn't know what she wants, but that's the typical trans woman.
Yeah, whatever.
But I'm actually decreasing my dose. I'm only injecting, I think it's like 50 milligrams every 2 weeks. Well, eventually when I run out, I'm going to stop. Too many side effects. And that, especially when you've been on this stuff for as long as I have, it's playing Russian roulette. The body doesn't do well in synthetics. The body, any kind of excess hormone in the body creates cancer, creates problems. I've been seeing a lot of trans people, both male and female, that are actually having a lot of health issues. And I'm sorry. I mean, I love the way I look and the way that I've created what I've created, but it's time to think about my health now. I'm not getting any younger, and as you get older, these thoughts do become prominent in your mind.
Exactly. Well, another reign of controversy out there is, should we be responsible for educating society or not? There is a debate regarding if we as trans should be responsible for educating society. If we don't, then who will? It's like, what? Are people supposed to read books and go from a book? No.
Of course, because that's what the trans writers want.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, self-promotion.
Self-promotion.
Sorry, my bad. Yes, so buy every trans-related book you can, and you'll learn everything you need to know. Bullshit. Okay, no. I think somebody that actually experiences life as a transgender person, as somebody in society that's interested in learning about that, should be open enough to be able to speak about what they've been through, what they've gone through, what their losses were, what their gains were, how it has affected them. I mean, these kind of stories have helped people become more tolerant of trans people.
Or understanding.
And more understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe not fully accepting the concept or understanding the concept, but they're at least tolerating and trying to understand. And so what ends up happening is that if we're going to clam up and now start not talking about what we've been through, and it's going to be this thing, let's just badger everybody and get everybody fired that uses this word and this, that, the other, well, come on. How is that going to gain any acceptance? We're never going to see acceptance. I mean, it took enough work for 2 decades to get people just to tolerate and start to try to understand us. Now, we've just been set back 2 more decades.
Right.
So, thanks to this new wave of
advocacy. And what should we be ashamed of? So what? They ask, what do you have down there? There's nothing to be ashamed of. Hey, look, I've got a vagina, and I also have a very miniature penis due to the hormones. Oh, how fascinating. Wow. People are curious. We're sexual beings. What's with these?
Here, want to see a picture?
Yeah, I carry around a book. That's what it looks like. Isn't it cute? I'm proud of my little mini peenie. I'm proud that I have a vagina. I'm proud, that's who I am.
Really? Okay.
I have nothing to hide. It's like
apparently not.
What's wrong with you?
You're an exorcist. I mean, exhibitionist.
No, it's just part of education. I love to see the aha moment in people's eyes when you educate them and open their hearts and minds. That's what it's all about.
I don't think that's an aha moment look. I think that's a what the fuck look.
No, not necessarily. Okay. Anyway, we're going to go over some more of the DMV in the different states. We left off last week with California. We're going to go into Colorado.
Yes, the DMV gender marker changing regulations and guidelines that each state requires.
Yeah, so at the end of the show, we go over 5 or 6 of them, and please call in if you have an experience that are different. Yeah, 646-716-6895, or with any questions.
Or join us in chat.
Yes. Okay, Colorado. You must request an original form of DR2083. It's medical information authorization for change of sex designation in person at the Colorado DMV office. Legibly print your name, the number from your current driver's license or identification card, and the date, your address, and your previous name if you're changing your name concurrently.
Please sign and date the form authorizing your physician to provide medical information in support of your application. Form DR2083 must be completed and signed by a Colorado licensed physician. He or she should state your gender on the basis of your gender identity and full-time gender role expression, or on prior completion of medical sex reassignment.
Bring the completed form,
DR2083.
Yeah, that's what this term.
And we're stuck.
To a DMV office with your current driver license or identification card and renewal fee. A new photo will be taken, and you will be issued a temporary driver license or identification document and asked to review it for correctness.
Now, we're going to go over to Connecticut. Medical documentation is required if applicant would like to change gender on their driver's license.
And now we're going to Delaware. That's
very vague.
Very vague.
But medical documentation, that's so vague. It could be clinical, anything medical. So clinical, surgical, whatever.
Yeah, or Connecticut.
Which is what it tells. That's kind of telling me that.
Like, they really don't want to do it, so they're not going to give you.
Yeah. So, they're going to make it very vague.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be person-to-person basis, whoever you get in the DMV.
Yeah, exactly. If you get a holier-than-thou Catholic, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Anyway, Delaware, the customer must obtain a form that is called MV 2020. Sounds like that wine, MD 2020. Request the gender change on driver license identification card. The customer is not required to have completed gender reassignment surgery. The customer like that. Instead, Section C must be completed by a medical or social service provider licensed in the United States, certifying that my practice, including assisting, counseling, or treating persons with gender identity issues.
So that's just a letter from a therapist.
Yes.
Including the applicant named herein, and in my professional opinion, the applicant's gender identity is male or female, and can reasonably be expected to continue as such for the foreseeable future. Once the form is completed, the customer must visit any DMV location with the completed application.
I like that.
And again, that's the MV 2020.
Yeah, foreseeable future, because there are a lot of
foreseeable future.
Well, because there's a lot of people that do detransition.
Well, you know,
know,
that doesn't matter. You're getting a document saying from a therapist that you're going to be remaining in the gender that you're portraying now and trying to change to.
Okay, just Columbia, because we're getting close. Applicants requesting a change of gender designation on the driver's license or identification card other than showing their identity proof documents must surrender any current state issued license or identification card, submit a complete gender designation form, have a new photograph taken, and pay applicable fees for a new or amended license.
The gender designation form requires that applicants attest that the change is for the purpose of ensuring my driver's license identification card accurately reflects my gender identity and is not for any fraudulent or other unlawful purposes. I just did this for a moment so I could go do something illegal and then go back to the way I was.
And they want your old card back so you can't go back and
yeah, exactly.
A medical or social service provider must affirm that in my professional opinion, okay, the applicant's gender identity is either male or female and can reasonably be expected to continue as such in the foreseeable future. It's another one of those because of a lot of the transitioning on the form. Okay, name changes related to gender are completed via submission of appropriate court documents and must also be reflected on the Social Security card.
In other words, Social Security card comes first.
And here's the state of
And here we go with Florida. Hey, hometown Florida. Customers, again, requesting a gender different from what appear on the driver's license or identification card unless the gender currently indicated was entered in error must provide a signed original statement on office letterhead from the attending medical physician. Not surgical physician, but medical physician.
This medical certification must include the following items. Number 1, physical full name. Number 2, medical license or certificate number. Number 3, issuing state of or other jurisdiction of medical license and certificate. Number 4, Drug Enforcement Administration DEA registration number assigned to the physician.
Number 5, address and telephone number of the physician. Number 6, language stating that he/she is attending the physician for the customer. He/she is the attending physician for the customer, and that he/she has a doctor-patient relationship with the customer. Number 7, language stating the customer is undergoing appropriate clinical treatment for gender transition to the new gender of male or female.
Number 8, language stating I declare under penalty or perjury under the laws of the United States that foregoing is true and correct. If a customer advises that the gender on his or her primary document mistakenly lists the wrong gender due to typographical error, refer to the customer to the appropriate issue agency for correction. No, sexual reassignment surgery is not a prerequisite for a driver license or identification card issuance, and such documentation will not be requested. We're going to leave Georgia for next week because we got 90 seconds. I want to mention everybody, please watch live this Thursday on Gay Live Television, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Kathy Brennan. This is going to be an amazing interview you do not want to miss. We want to thank our sponsors, our advertisers, our listeners for tuning in, as always.
Yeah.
And we want to say, you know what?
We love you, but remember to always love yourselves too. Good night,
folks. All right.